Welcome to another edition of the Heavy Duty Parts Report. My name is Jamie Irvin, and today we are live. As always, with our live broadcast, we'd love for you to participate in the conversation. So by all means, if you would like to make a comment or ask a question, we will bring you into the conversation. Happy to have you here with us. Also, I wanted to remind you that we have a weekly podcast that airs every week on Monday. And we interview manufacturers of heavy-duty parts and industry experts, and we really get to the bottom of questions like how to lower cost of mile or cost per mile, total cost of operation, and we examine how the trends in the industry are affecting heavy-duty parts and the repairing of commercial vehicles. Go over to heavydutypartsreport.com to check out our podcast, and also you can check out our video content with our live presentations where we post replays. Today we're here to talk about a radio program that is called TNCRadio.live. And we have a big announcement to make later in today's episode that I'm really excited about. But before we get to that, I'd like to introduce you to Tom Kelley. He's the founder of TNC Radio Live, and he's with us today from Houston, Texas. Tom, welcome to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. So happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be on the other side of the microphone for once.
Yes. I know whenever I get a chance to go on another program, I feel exactly the same way. To kind of frame our conversation, I wanted to start off by not only introducing the Heavy Duty Parts Report audience to TNC Radio Live, but I wanted to explain to them, first of all, what is it? So what is the program all about?
Yeah, it's interesting. We started a little over a year ago. I guess we started in November, December timeframe. And it wasn't this. It wasn't what we're doing now. What happened was I had driven about 1,000 or so Uber Lyft drives and met a lot of interesting people, a lot of other drivers. And I was stunned how much information they didn't have to do their job. And I would say things like, well, we've got 1,225 people coming in at the airport 2 hours from now. And they're like, how do you know that? It's like, okay, I've got the apps and so. And I was always confused how they didn't know that. And so decided that I wanted to put together something that would give them information. And then I also became aware that a lot of radio disc jockeys who had great careers were now unemployed because they're if you really listen carefully to AM/FM radio, unless you're listening to a sports station, there's probably nobody at the station that you're listening to because they bring in things from other people and they voice track everything, which means that on a Saturday or Sunday, somebody will come in and they'll say, coming up next, Bruce Springsteen. And coming up next, Led Zeppelin. And they just do that for a few hours. And then all that gets kind of cut into radio programs. And nobody's there the rest of the week. It just runs. And so a lot of really great people, even here in Houston, Jim Beasy, who was part of the morning crew on one of the big stations here in Houston, that whole crew just got dumped one day. And others, Ron Samuels is with us. Ron, you would recognize his voice right away. He was the voice of traffic for KTRH and a lot of the other stations. And I started finding people around, and I showed them this vision that I had of creating an internet radio station that would help commercial drivers. And we got it all put together, and we were ready to launch March 24th of last year.
Oh man. So COVID had a big impact on that plan, didn't it?
Yeah, we were going to focus on rideshare, and the whole thing kind of blew up. So we took a step back and talked about what do we know, because you need to talk about things you know about. And it turned out we had a lot of mutual trucking experience as well. So we double clutched and launched on July 1st. With a wider audience than just rideshare. And we're looking at more commercial drivers and truckers. And man, they loved what we were doing just from the very beginning. So now what we have is a 24/7, 365 radio, just like a radio station that's, AM, FM. We're licensed for the United States and Canada, and we've got drivers. I think we've covered everything but Alaska and Hawaii. I think we've got all 48 states where we've had listeners. Now, I was trying to go through some of our material the other day to make sure I've got all 48 marked, but I think we've got all 48 states, and certainly throughout Canada. And we're just having a ball. It's been great. We have live shows in the mornings and the afternoons. We've got podcast shows in the middle of the day. We rebroadcast some of the popular stuff that's on Sirius XM, and then overnight, and this is pretty cool. Overnight, instead of playing music or whatever, we play the old time radio stuff. Dragnet and the Lone Ranger and the Green Hornet and Nick Dollar and all these things our trucker audience loves it because they don't fall asleep. Right. They get to listen to the story as opposed to listening to the music, and the music can get kind of, but when you're listening to the story, it keeps them much more awake. We do a lot of comedy. We have a lot of laughs. We take our job seriously. We certainly take our listeners seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And so there's always a lot of laughter, and we have a lot of fun in any show that we're doing. And even when we're talking about tough subjects, we still can find humor, maybe too much humor at times, but that's okay because we know our audience, and our audience likes to laugh too. So
when I first met you and we were talking about the situation with commercial drivers, especially truck drivers, you kind of talked about a bit of a problem with the way some of the satellite radio is structured, and I'd like to delve into that a little bit, because that's kind of the problem that you were trying to solve with TNC Radio. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Exactly. A lot of the drivers really kind of resent this idea that they have to pay for radio, and then some of the things that have happened on Sirius XM, some of the host swap outs that have happened, and they're frustrated. Okay, and so we're trying to very much to have a frustrating place for them to go. It doesn't cost them any money to listen to us. All they have to do is be able to pull up a website or download the app or whatever, and they can listen to us very easily. And it also solves the problem too of there are 800,000 podcasts and 30 million episodes. Okay, what's a trucker to do? How does he know that to listen to you versus somebody? And look, you have this high quality show. Others not so much, and it's how do they know? Because the last thing a trucker wants to do is spend the evening after driving all day trying to figure out which podcast he's going to listen to tomorrow. That's a waste of time. That their time is very valuable when they're on the road, and it can be pretty tough out there, and they don't want to sit around doing that. So we hopefully have built a program throughout the day, throughout the 24 hours. We've got sports, we got music, we've got in the music, in between songs, we have comedy routines from the Blue Collar guys, Jeff Foxworthy and those guys, and some other trucker comedy. And again, just have some fun, and great interview shows during the day. It's been a blast. It really has.
Well, that's awesome. And, it's so important to figure out like who you're going to serve, make sure it's that narrow audience that, I'm going to build something for this group of people. And then we're going to do everything we can to serve them to the maximum. And it really looks like that's what you've done, right from day one. You were willing to pivot, and you were focusing on, like, to your point, the strengths that you had as a group. And then from there, it's grown quite rapidly.
Yeah. And as rideshare comes back, we're bringing back some of that programming as well. Harry Campbell, the rideshare guy out of California, does an excellent podcast that he's graciously allowed us to use as well. And so bringing back that audience. I mean, right now, Uber and Lyft are paying enormous amounts of money to bring back their their drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Enormous amounts.
Yeah. Well, now's the time for us to make our big announcement. So drum roll, please. Tom, what's the big announcement we wanted to talk about today?
The big announcement is that we've actually added you and your show to our afternoon broadcast, 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock Central Time. So your Mountain Time, is that right?
I'm personally in Mountain Time, yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be noon and 1 your time, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern. We've put you front and center. Your show brings, number one, it has a great audience that comes with it. It's technical enough to meet the needs of the drivers in a way that we hadn't met so far. We have a lot of great, don't get me wrong, great podcasts with great guests and stuff, but yours takes it kind of to the next level. I mean, there's all the subjects that you cover are of great interest to the drivers, and so we're really excited to have you there and launching each of those hours, and it's been a pleasure. We actually been doing it all week, and it started off great. I'm getting fantastic feedback, and I'm really excited to have you be part of what we're doing, and that means now that your listeners can come listen every day. They can just be driving down the highway and 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Central Time, flip over and hear one of the best of. And I appreciate you too, Jamie, going through and you picked out, made sure we had the best ones that we could listen to. So we're very excited about how it's all coming together.
Yeah, and we're very excited to be part of the TNC Radio family now. It was quite an honor to be approached by you, and we really appreciate that. We've really done everything we can to produce the highest quality show possible, and certainly over time our show has gotten better. One of the things that was a big reason for me wanting to be part of this also is not only just to reach a larger audience, but also to have the ability to communicate with that audience in another way, to get feedback from them, to help us to produce the next 100 episodes and to really tailor it to the needs of the industry. And that is a really high priority. Our big why at the Heavy Duty Parts Report is we believe that the commercial trucking industry is the backbone of our society. And we want to provide that such a critical component of our society. We want to provide them with information that'll really help them to be more efficient, operate in a way that allows them to be more profitable. This is good for them, but it's good for society at large.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that this particular week because, some weeks there's not a lot of news that goes on in the trucking industry. Not true this week. That bridge break that's in Memphis, we've had to talk about that every day, how to get around it, the issues that it's causing. It's causing major issues, of course, for Federal Express. And I mean, it's a big deal. And so we've had lots of opportunity to talk to the truckers about that. Where are you going? How are you going to get there? Here's some other options for you. If you're coming in, say, from the Carolinas, you might want to consider taking this route instead. And so it's been, I get in bed feeling good, really good at night that we actually did something to help.
Yeah.
This whole spring, we've had some really rough weather, especially Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, throughout that whole area. Being able to let the truckers know what's going on, and say, hey, drivers, right when you get to this mile marker, you're going to be in a position where there's tornadoes coming through and everything. So you might want to stop, and then we'll give them some ideas on some, and we'll even at times go through and figure out, which stops have parking places available to them and stuff like that. So they don't even have to, get past, where they need to be. And it's been, I don't know, it feels great what we're doing. We feel really good about it. And we have fun too. Some of the stories are bizarre. Here in Houston, just the other day, 3 o'clock in the morning, guys headed home from the bar scene. He was not the least bit drunk, but he wrecked his car. when he hit a 10.5-foot alligator weighing 300 pounds who was laying out in the middle of the street, just taking a little break, feeling the warm concrete. And I mean, his car was totaled. And so was the alligator. You know, the alligator make a nice set of boots for somebody. But yeah, it was. So, I mean, and reporting on that kind of stuff, too, that I don't know why we have an animal thing going, but we do.
Hey, if you're on the road, animals are part of the experience. That's for sure. I know in Alberta where I live, if you like hit a deer or something, when you talk to the insurance company, you can't say you hit the deer. You have to say the deer hit you. Because if you hit the deer, you're liable. If the deer hit you, the insurance will cover it, and it's not against your driving record.
Well, and not long ago, I was driving down the road and a deer hit us, and yeah, oh, what a mess.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to our live program to make this big announcement. And we're really looking forward to this partnership. I have a sense that we are aligned in our missions. And I think this is going to be a very long-term relationship that I'm very excited to participate in. We also will have some other announcements coming in the weeks to come because we are developing some new content in partnership with TNC Radio. Very excited about that. So all of you out there at the Heavy Duty Parts Report that follow us, stay tuned because we've got some things to share with you in the future that are pretty exciting. But in the meantime, continue to check us out at heavydutypartsreport.com, and please go over to TNCRadio.live or download the app. One clarification with the app, is it available in Android and Apple?
Android right now, as many people have, we've had a little run-in and a little issue with Apple. So It's not there right now. I hope it's going to be back next week.
Good.
But you know, Apple sometimes they think too much. Let's put it that way. We've got a special Memorial Day project going on for the next couple of weeks. We're inviting people in the industry to. They can email us. They can send us a recording that they've made and all that kind of stuff. We're collecting remembrances of people who have lost people from, you know, who were serving our country. And I want to encourage people to do that. Maybe it's just calling up and saying, hey, I want to remember my cousin John Smith, and that's all you want to say. So you can call us on that as well. And let me pull up that phone number here real quick while it's and don't you know that the moment you need something like that.
Okay, well, you look that up. One thing that I would just want to emphasize, if you want to check out TNC Radio, go to TNCRadio.live, or you can download the Android app. Either way, you'll be able to get access to the 24/7, 365 programming. And as we've talked about today, you're going to get a wide range of programming from entertainment to educational content to informational content related to commercial driving and the trucking industry. So make sure you go over and check out TNCRadio.live. If you'd like to phone in, what's the number there?
It's on the website, so you can come to TNCRadio.live and it'll tell you right there on the front page what it is, and I've just misplaced it right in the middle of.
All right, well, go over to TNC Radio Live, and you'll TNCRadio.live, and you'll be able to check that out. So just remember, it's a .live, not a .com.
Yes.
Tom, well, thanks so much for being on the show today.
You betcha.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll talk to you soon, and I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to our work together going forward. My name is Jamie Irvin. I'm the host of the Heavy Duty Parts Report, and if you'd like to check out any of our content, go over to heavydutypartsreport.com. Next week, I'm looking forward to airing our 50th live episode, and we've got a great guest coming on to talk to you. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.